Hello, I just continue where I left off in the last episode. You can hear I'm still congested, sick. Anyway, this episode, like I announced, gonna change the brake line on the front brake because it's corroded and iffy. And then of course you have to bleed the front system. And since there's nothing on here and the lines are just dingling about here, this is supposed to go to the brake here, to the cylinder, and then this is gonna go to the brake caliper. To install it and bleed it, in general you should change your brake fluid every 2 years anyway, because it just ages. It is hygroscopic, meaning it attracts water. Water in the brake fluid is bad, makes a soft pedal. I also heard quite a lot of bad stories how the bleeding is pretty complicated and you get bubbles. Of course bubbles wanna go up, right? It's physics. But you have to pump them down. So let's see how that goes. See if I get a firm pedal doing this the first time. If I can do it, you can do it too, I guess. For those of you who don't know, this is supposed to be a 2016. This is a fairly simple ABS module here. 4 lines, 2 in, 2 out. And honestly, you have one going in from the brake reservoir here, and then one going out to your brakes. This is just like a valve, a computer controlled valve in between, to open and close in case it detects that your wheel is blocking. That's all it is. Same on the rear. This is gonna be the outside, and then this is the inside. That's where I give input. That's where the input comes out. And this is just in between. That's all. First, I'm doing the easy part, changing the line, because I just don't like how this looks. It's kind of meh. I also got a new bench bolt and painted it black. So matchy. Just have to see that I routed properly down here. When you change any lines or anything, throttle cable in general for electrics, you gotta make sure that you have enough slack in it to allow your handlebars to move left to right, no lock to lock. And yes, this will be changed later also, one step at a time, okay? So we're gonna open up here, open up whichever it is down here. I believe it's this one here. Of course, you have to use new crush washers. You need 2 on each bench bolt, and then bleeding it. It's pretty straightforward. So this is all I need for the front job, other than of course for the bleeding. We get to that. My new nicely painted black painted bench bolt, all the crush washers I need for the job, and of course also the new line. It's simply black on black. That's going to be an all black build here. Beakler line, you can choose whatever color combination you want. Up to you. And already preview for the end, you torque these bench bolts with 24 Newton meter. So just in case you don't have this to go off from, I want to just show you how it's routed, because I learned and I didn't have anything down there. I had to make it up all myself. I'm gonna give you a hand here. Of course, you start here, the cylinder, it routes down here, it's tagged on here, goes through the middle, another of these rubber holder thingies. There's the third one. And then you have a little clamp here, you have a T25 Torx down there. You have to remove, it's in there, so you can get this clamp off. And then it routes here through this cable tie. You have to cut it open underneath your lock, your ignition lock here, and then just on top down there. That's all. So as you see, the original is already pretty black because it has this rubber coating around here, but it doesn't change this. Los, knack. That's it for the brake line at the front. Of course I have to bleed the system, but I want to bleed it all at once. Once I'm finished, that's it. I have to of course install the brake on the rear axle first. There is none right now. There's no foot bag, no brake pedal, and of course no disc, no caliper. So let's install that first. First disc, caliper, new pads, and then I'm gonna install the foot pegs and the master cylinder, tie it all up, and then I can bleed it. For the disc, that's the part number here. And this is the part number for the bolts. I use new bolts. It's a brake component. You probably can use the old ones, but mine, as many others on this bike, have been mangled. These already have thread lock on there. If you use old ones, you have to clean the threads and apply a new non-permanent thread lock. It's a blue Loctite. Top it on there. Straightforward. You tighten them first to 12 Newton meter and then to 30 Newton meter, and you go in a crisscross pattern, just like a wheel. So let's install the disc. Actually install it from the right side. So you put it on like this. You go between. And you twist it, and that's how you put it on. And you only have one access point down here where you can actually get a screw in. So that's fun. What it is, what it is. You also put some thread lock on the bolts. And that is enough. So brake disc is on. Now caliper. Usually you would use these bolts for the caliper, but I believe this is a part of a aftermarket license plate holder that sits somewhere down here. I think it's Resonator or something. I guess I have to use these bolts here. At least this one. They have the same length here. One goes up here original, and the other one goes, this thing goes down here. And then I need, of course, a longer bolt to make up the space here. So let's do that first and see what happens. This will work. So before I can put this on, I need to find the license plate bracket and install it as I go. So I think I figured it out. The two Allen screws go for the license plate bracket down here. I used one original bolt for the brake here, for the brake carrier. That's all the mounting point for the cable, which was just graciously cut. Always nice. So now also found a nut that would fit. And now I'm just gonna install this license plate bracket and the brake caliper. And if you need any more proof that this bike has been laying on its side, just look at this license plate. It's the full banana. I already installed new pads, new slide pin, lock pin, the springs in the back, push them back of course, and now this should finally fit. Tighten everything with 28 Newton meters. Caliper on, license plate holder on, power missing, do that later. We just been spinning. Now foot bag with brake master cylinder, so I can tap this line on here. Almost there. So of course if you want to brake, you need a brake pedal. Let's install this for the time being. This will not stay on the bike, at least not like this. But for the time being, I kinda need it. And the bolts tied with 24 Newton meter. And these are going to be tied with 8 Newton meter. So of course this is not finished yet. Like mentioned, pegs won't stay like this. And I have this cable here. I just tucked it under here. You have to extend it, tuck it in under here also, and route it out to the front. There won't be space in here to fit for the rubbers, so I just go on the inside. That's fine. You also have your brake light switch here. I'm not tying it down yet. It doesn't matter right now. But now if I can finally bleed it, back and brake is on. Brake here is on. So this is a 8mm here. That's all you need. And what you're gonna do is you just fill this up and you pump. And when you pump, you open. When you're about finished pumping, you close. Pump again, open again. You have to pay also attention that you don't run out of fluid here. This is all empty. So this of course is empty here, the master cylinder and the reservoir, but all this entire line is empty. So gotta pump quite a bit. I have literally 2 bottles of brake fluid, half a liter, one for the front, one for the rear. That should be enough. As for what brake fluid I'm using, that's what I use. That should be good enough. I'm not racing the bike, you know, so that'll do. I'm doing the rear brake first because there's only one on the front. You have 2 calipers. I believe you have to start on the left side, then on the right side. Oh, of course, and here for the front, the reservoir is here. Gotta open this first. So this is the actual speed. This is not sped up to give you a better understanding how slow it actually is. And you can see first the valve is closed. You start pushing on the lever, and while you're pushing, then you open the valve. And before you reach the end of the stroke on the pull on the lever, you're going to close the valve again. So you only have the valve open after you started pushing the brake and before you end pushing the brake. So on the front it's pretty much the same as on the rear. The procedure is the same, only difference is you have 2 calipers. Apparently you start with the left side and then to the right side. There's literally no pressure in the beginning. Probably because my line was open, I changed that. There's just a ton of air in there. But once you get some fluid in there, you will feel it coming back. And at the end, you have actual brake pressure and you can't pull your brake lever all the way back to the handlebar anymore. You are not supposed to be able to pull the lever against the handlebar. The clutch you can, the brake you should not be able to do that. And you also see I'm doing the entire thing twice, left, right, because since I had the line open, I wanted to make sure I don't have any air stuck where the line split. So I just did the entire thing twice. It didn't change anything, or it felt like nothing changed, but at least this way I'm sure it's all properly done. So and that's how you bleed your brake fluid on this R9T. Doesn't have the IABS. For the IABS, you actually have to take the connectors off. A little different. I think there is a video also on that. But for this and most other bikes, that's how it goes. You also need a lot less fluid than anticipated. I got 2 bottles because, you know, it was empty. I changed the line, I had no brake caliper there, everything empty. But that's really just very little fluid in there. I only opened 1 container and it's still at least a third full. You really have to do the pump, open, close, release, and then again. And you will feel, suddenly you will have pressure. If you already have fluid in here, if you didn't do what I did, change the line, drain the line, you know, have air in there. If you don't have that, you should have brake pressure from the get-go. I didn't, so it was interesting to see how then it's been building up. And of course, you shouldn't be able to pull the lever all the way to the handlebar. If then you have some air in there, same on the rear, you can feel the pressure, how it builds. You also saw me hopping left and right, because you do have that splitter in here for both lines. And since I opened the line before that, it was possible that air would come just out through here, but also get stuck somewhere in here. So I did it twice. If it doesn't work for you the first time, you may also have to do it twice. But that's it, pretty straightforward, nothing really complex. So now that the brakes are done, giving you a little bonus, so it's not just all brakes in this episode, I'm going to install the shift lever. You just have this nose hanging here. And you need, of course, this rod. It's hanging down there. And it's missing, of course, the arm, which is down here. And you have little plastic washers, these ones that go in there, and little springs that secure it. And then this arm here, you have a little mark on there, just a little line, and that line is pointing towards the opening here. What's the line with the opening? Just like in there. Roughly. So this is not so easy to show, but you have those 2 foam seals, I think it's a seal, the gasket. Just push it over the ball, same in here. You have a disc here, and in here where this goes through, you have 2 plastic washers or plastic bearings. Make sure they are there, they're not in the way, and that is pretty much it. Now I'm going to clip it on the lever first, then take the little pin. You have little holes here on this side, you have to push the pin in and then just flip it around to secure it, that's it. And then the same on the bottom side. Then I have that connected to this little axle here, and then I can install the actual lever on here. Just meet the little brake anti-seize in here. So of course, since this part is aftermarket, it's not going to align like OEM would, because you see this just open here and this open here. They have to take this as an alignment and then accordingly. But what I noticed is that the rod is apparently too short, because when I want to shift in first, I'll contact with the swing arm. So that's not okay, to make it longer. Because you can adjust the length of your shift rod here. It should do it. Let's put this thing on first. Doesn't look too bad. Make it a little longer still. Once you got it to where you want it, just get a 10mm in there, just tighten it a little bit, it's not going anywhere, and then you can install your lever. So that's in also. Okay guys, there you have it. It's the end of this episode. Brakes, rear brakes complete. Also pay attention if you spring in the right spot. The old one was not in the right spot. New discs, new pads, new hardware. Routed everything up. Master cylinders in. It's black front. I got my nice black on black Spiegler line. It's also nice. And making progress. Only don't like that you see the copper washers here. Could have maybe used the aluminum ones from Spiegler, but it is what it is for now. Also installed the shift lever down here with the rod and everything. Just all that woos down here. Got more space without the airbox. We get into the airbox also, one of the future videos. Airbox delete is already done. I still have to, of course, install my throttle bodies. And once the throttle bodies are in, I can actually install the airbox delete and clean everything up, starting putting the cables where they belong. And of course, right now I have a license plate back there with light. Doesn't go anywhere yet, but that's to be addressed together with the light for the tail here. Headlight delete is also done. It'll come on later. Also, as mentioned before, this entire fork will come off because I want all the silver black. So, and of course, the fork seals are not sealing. leaking pretty badly. And the tire is also done. Yeah, it's moving along step by step. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you continue following along the build until we finally gonna start it up. Exhaust gonna be mighty loud because of course. See you in the next video.